Good morning, you beautiful bunch of fuckers, and welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It's Monday, February 16th. We are here live. Time for some industry insights. I need to check my notes. What's going on here? Must be Monday. I have all kinds of things to talk about. I'm looking for... Brent's trying to dial in. The phone lines aren't working. That's not a good way to start off Monday. Angie, looks like Angie's trying to connect with him. That was weird. I did have some issues this morning with the technology, but I thought it was all on my end. I had to reconnect a couple times. It looks like we're still struggling. So we had him and we lost him. I've got several things I want to talk about, but I want to talk about them with Brent. We're trying. We'll get him in here. All right. Today's also going to be a free-for-all. Let's get some calls going. 855-950-3835. We can certainly talk about what's going on in the industry, rates, lanes, volumes, all that stuff. But we can also talk about whatever you feel like talking about. Let's make it a free-for-all. Phone lines are open. Jump in and join us. 855-950-3835 or hit that call now button on your app. There he is. We got him in both places. There we go. Audio's working. Look at that. All right.
There you go. Rock and roll. A little bit of technology. I like it.
Good morning. I had the same problem. I almost went into panic mode. I had about 10 minutes before showtime, and I went to connect to the show, and nothing was working. But I think we got it. I think we're good. How was your weekend?
Oh, oh my goodness! It was restful and great. And our good friend John Diggy sent me a text message at the end of last week, and he said, "Hey, you okay?" He said, "You looked a little tired on the show last Monday." And I said, "Well, I probably was a little bit. I've been going pretty hard, and when I travel, KR, I mean, I'm up super early working out, and I'm going all day long, talking to people and doing things, and then at some conferences I'm speaking, and you know how this goes, KR. When your senses are heightened all the time, you get pretty tired after a while. You get pretty tired.
Do.
So I had a great weekend.
Here's an interesting thing about that. I don't think we think about this much. I'm probably going to blow the statistic, but you'll get the idea. Our brain is, I don't know, 2 or 3% of our total body weight, but it uses 20% of our energy. And we don't think about that.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that's amazing.
The brain is very, very energy hungry. It uses a lot of energy. But we don't think about being physically tired after doing a lot of mental work. But I am physically exhausted when I get done with a hard day of mental work.
Yeah. Well, your senses, like, think about this. Like, I have several children that are in the acting field, the theater field. And so when you watch somebody on stage, they're just full of life, right? Usually they're either, they have to express all their emotions because they're trying to communicate to an audience. But if you've ever seen, and I have because of my children, if you ever see them when they come off the stage, like after the play's over or they are exhausted. They're just totally wiped out. And I've been there because I've been on stage, and you've been on stage. I remember, when you were hosting your owner-operator event. I mean, when you have to be up front, it is an exhausting thing because your senses have to work full speed. And you think about the 20% power that your brain takes from your body. And by the way, the brain needs to be taking that power because it has to run all these other systems we got here, right? So we need to make sure it's working. But
think of
so I get it.
The idea behind, here it comes, my favorite topic, The idea behind AI. We're
oh no, he said it.
Let's think about this a second. What we're trying to do with AI is we're trying to recreate the human brain. And guess what? One of our biggest challenges is in AI data centers. Getting them enough power.
Yeah, power and storage.
Yeah, getting them enough power. So that makes sense. Obviously, the supercomputer between our ears needs a lot of juice. So,
well, I've always said this. I always maintained this. I don't know how you feel about this, but people talk about AI taking over and becoming smarter than humans and whatever else. And I just look at people, and I mean, I think I've said this to you before. When we, as human beings, can measure the capacity of the human brain, then I'll be scared of AI.
Yeah.
Because so far we don't know the capacity. We don't know the capacity of the thing. Heck, we don't know the capacity of the human body.
No, we don't.
Thought the human would die. They thought the human would die if it ran faster than a 4-minute mile. And Roger Bannister proved that wrong pretty easily. And now we got guys like Dean Karnazes who's running 300 miles without stopping.
Yeah.
So I don't think we know the limit to this beautiful machine. I call it the beautiful machine. This beautiful machine we have.
I know. I think he still holds it. I know a guy who holds a record for the fastest mile over 50 years old, and he broke 4-minute mile after 50.
Oh goodness!
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, that's probably pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where was I going with that? I had a point to that thought. Now
you asked me how my weekend was, and you said
brain
power, and
oh, I did. Maybe this was where I was going.
Say yes. Yeah, go ahead.
I did find kind of a hack. I'm not sure.
So
this is one of those things that.
What is it?
When you get to that point where we're talking about, you just know you're tired. You know, I 2 weeks ago, it was really bad. I came on, not only was I tired just from pushing too much and spending too much screen time and working on too many projects, but I was also going through a detox myself, and we are doing mold remediation here at the house. And no matter how hard...
wait a minute, your house in Cascade Locks? Or
Cascade Locks, yeah.
What happened?
So turns out we've always known we had a leaky window in the front of the house, big picture kind of window thing. And that used to be my studio, was right at that window. And Lisa's office is over on that side of the house.
Sure was.
Right. So turns out there's a that's the second floor. The third floor up above it, there's a deck off the master bedroom. And they never flashed the decking or the window below it.
Oh, no.
And it doesn't happen a lot, but anytime the wind blows right at that wall, it would drive the rain in, and the window would start leaking. We knew it would leak, but it was rare, maybe once or twice a year that you would actually see it. Yeah, and we kind of knew there was probably mold, and we tested once, and we did find some. And then this new test we just started doing on the health side of things showed that Lisa's level of that mold was 16 times higher than it should be on a urinalysis.
Oh, yeah,
16 times. And it was getting worse. Her body couldn't clear it anymore at all.
What? Whoa, so a personal urinalysis and it was 16 times. So that's not good.
No. And I had the same mold. Mine was borderline high because my body's been able to kind of detox it over time. So we were working on that, and I had a horrible case of brain fog. Like, I just couldn't think. I didn't want to come on the air. It's really hard to think about coming on the air when your brain's not working right. Yeah, and
now, when was this? Was just now?
Now, 2 weeks ago, I think, is when it peaked. Last week, I was still dealing with it.
Okay.
I started playing around with a couple things. One of them is a supplement that I have been avoiding for about 40-some years. It's been around for a long, long time. Everything I read 40 years ago said it was hard on your liver, hard on your kidneys. Bodybuilders were doing it. It's been a big bodybuilding supplement forever, but just recently there's a lot of research that shows it's good for your brain in higher doses. Creatine.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
Creatine.
Yeah,
Never
for sure.
tried it, always avoided it, didn't see the point. And then when I saw the brain benefits, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. Here's what it does. No matter how sleep deprived you are, how tired you are, exhausted, your brain works better then.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't notice much of a difference on a good day. On a good day, it's a good day. My brain's working. I feel great. Don't notice a huge difference. On the bad days is when I notice a big, big difference. Now, the part of the problem with that is I have to be careful, because what I'll do is I'll just use that hack to push myself even harder because I know I can, and that's not good. You know, if I'm not sleeping good, I should address the fact that I'm not sleeping good, but it's a nice little crutch once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've never tried that. I mean, I can understand how there's certain aspects of supplements that could help you in certain areas, for sure, for sure. So that's interesting.
That area for using supplements to improve brain function is referred to as nootropics.
Okay.
N-O-O.
Nootropics.
Yeah, nootropics. It's any supplement that helps your brain function better.
N-O-O. Tropics.
Yeah.
I'm going to get, is that like nootropics or
nootropic? It's always, I've heard it. I think it's spelled like that. It's close enough. It'll get you to the right place. Yeah, nootropics. I've tested dozens and dozens. Most of them don't do much of anything. This one does.
No.
This one does. I haven't noticed any downsides. Other than it allows me to say, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I don't sleep this week. I'll just hit the creatine a little harder.
So creatine. Okay, well that's interesting. So is that just from a brain function, or is that body as well?
Forever, it's been a bodybuilding supplement. It does help your body recover and rebuild muscle faster than if you weren't taking it. It's been well documented for decades. They did say that it was hard on the liver and kidneys, which must have been big pharma, because it's just not true. It's not hard on your liver, kidneys at all. We've measured all the markers. 5 grams a day is the recommended dose for the bodybuilding benefits, for the muscle benefits. 15 to 20 grams a day for the mental benefits. So it's 15 grams of anything is a lot. So it's a powder. You'd have to take 30 or 40 capsules if it were capsules. So it's a powder. I just mix it in with my Cardio Miracle every day.
Wow.
Now. Yeah. Yeah, it works.
All right, so I'm looking at it right now. That's pretty cool.
So, Angie.
No, I mean, hey, look. Here's. Let me ask you a question. Ask you a question on this then. So, go. Did you need to ask Angie a question?
Yeah, I was going to have Angie put that. We carry a brand of creatine in our store now, and I found there's another less studied molecule, alpha GPC, which works synergistically. There's my big word for the day. Works synergistically with creatine for even more mental health benefits. So we carry that brand in our store. Angie, if you could put the link up for that one. Yeah, so interesting stuff.
Well, let me ask you a question. So as you and I get older, Mr. Kevin Rutherford, is some form of very sort of low level or moderate level creatine would be good for our brains as we age? Because you think about some of the things that you talked about with the rise in dementia, the rise in Alzheimer's, the rise in all kinds of brain issues as you get into, say, your 70s and early 80s. And so I wonder if this would be something that, like they say, like good exercise, like really good, consistent exercise your whole life is one of the best things you can do for your brain.
Absolutely. No doubt.
So would this be another aspect of helping that?
I believe so. And here's the other thing. It's not some sort of weird artificial kind of hack because our body makes creatine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if we're not getting the proper nutrition, if we don't have the perfect diet and the perfect digestion and all those other things, if they were all fixed, you probably wouldn't need the creatine. But I think it's one of those nutrients that our body isn't producing as much as we could use.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So
makes sense.
I've made it a daily for now, and I do notice a difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to look into that. So you sell some in the store?
We do. Angie just put the link up there in the chat.
What's it called?
Creatine plus alpha GPC. Jerry says it's sold out. I better stop talking about it.
Well, thanks a lot, Angie, for having it sold out already.
Angie's looking to see when it may be back in stock.
That's no fun.
No, it's not. I better hoard some next time.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
So
let us know when you get somewhere in there, because
I've got some things I wanted to talk about. Aurora. What's the name of the company? I'm not really sure.
You're talking about the autonomy company?
I am talking about it. What's the Aurora robot trucks? I don't know what they call it. Aurora. They're doing a lot of autonomous, more than I thought, much more than I thought. They just added a new. They just added a new run. 1,000 miles, no drivers in the truck, Fort Worth to Phoenix. They now have 10 routes, and they are on track to have 200 plus driverless trucks on the road by the end of the year.
Holy smokes. Okay.
Yeah.
I got to look this up.
Yeah. They just added Fort Worth to Phoenix, and they're just growing. They're fully driverless trucks. They have some trucks with drivers still in them, but their fully driverless trucks have logged 250,000 miles with no collisions, which that number's not huge. The average for an over-the-road truck is 600 and some thousand per collision, but 250 is a good start.
Wow. Interesting they got the variances to go through all those states, though.
Yeah.
I mean, go from what states do you go through? You obviously leave Texas and you got to get to Arizona. What other state? I'm trying to.
Texas, New Mexico. Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. I think it's just 3. I think that would just be 3 states. Okay. It's 1,000 miles because 999 of it is just to get out of Texas.
That's right.
That's what it feels like when you're in Texas.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I got to tell the tribe that the funniest thing, one of the funniest things my mom's ever said. It's about Texas. So we were talking about going from Alabama to LA and driving. And my brother said, it takes 3 days to get out there. And my mom said, we were all sitting around having dinner. And my mother said, 3 days? And she said, and so my brother says to my mom, yeah, Mom, it takes 3 days. Mom, it takes a whole day just to drive across Texas.
Yeah, it does.
And she goes, well, can't we just drive around it?
You got to love that. Yeah. As soon as she finds that shortcut around Texas, tell her to let us know. Because I would love that.
I will let you.
Yeah, I would love that.
I just want Mom. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I feel like we should almost take a moment of silence here for there's an important event happening in the world of trucking radio today.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
This is pretty. Tell the tribe what's going on.
Pretty incredible. Dave Nemo is probably on the air right now. I would imagine he's on the air now. He's no longer on Sirius XM either. He left. Nemo Radio left there earlier this year or last year, But Dave's been on the air on his own. It's his final show today. 55 years on the air.
I know.
55 years. And Dave is one of the reasons I'm on the radio.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he's
that's
a great guy. I've known
career.
Dave since I got in the market in '98.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overdrive Radio had we were not a radio channel. We had distribution through the other radio networks. This was before Sirius and FM, and we were on the Nemo network, and I met Dave, and what a great gentleman, man. What a great person and gentleman. And somebody who loves trucking. And so, yeah, it is a big day. You're right. I appreciate you bringing that up.
You know, Dave might be one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. He is just a nice guy. He just he just really is. Yeah. 55 years at anything is an incredible career. And you think about all the changes. He started in the 70s. He was actually he was in the Army. And then, and in the Army, he was a DJ or a radio. He did a radio show in the Army.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Wow. Yeah.
And then he came out, and trucking radio kind of existed. A guy named Charlie Douglas, who I never listened to, but I knew about Charlie. He was probably the first one ever to do what might have been called trucking radio. Trucking radio was really whatever AM station had the big power that they could crank up overnight. Radio stations were allowed to crank up their power overnight. So you had some of the big, powerful stations that you could get.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Their AM signals across multiple states overnight. You couldn't hear them during the daytime, but you'd be able to hear that channel at night. If it was a country music channel and they went all night, that's kind of how trucking radio came about. It was country music DJs that started talking to drivers in the middle of the night. Charlie Douglas was the first, and Dave started on his show, I think. So,
wow.
Yeah, well, pretty incredible.
He's a great ambassador to the market. Yeah, great ambassador to the market, and I'm glad you said something about it. And I just saw Dave. I saw Dave up at the Reads Across America event in DC, and just what a great guy. I mean, I've always had such a fun.
Yeah, we had Brad on with us. Was that last week? We had Brad. I think there was last week.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
Yeah, we had Todd on.
Oh, that's right.
Last week, Brad on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's a connection there. So we talked about the fact that Driving Force was the first magazine I started writing a column for. And that was the column. Dave Nemo read the column and called me out of the blue. I mean, I knew who Dave Nemo was, but I had never met him or spoken to him. He called me out of the blue and asked me if I'd come on his show and talk about that column. That's how I got started with him. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And then at the end, for a couple of years, I was on his show every Wednesday for 3 hours. And once a week or once a month, I would fly up to Nashville and do his whole show in the studio. I would do the whole day with him.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I sure do.
So
the
end.
That's when the legend of Kevin will start. The legend of Kevin was starting then.
We'll see if I can make it to 55 years. It's let me see. What do I have to do here? How long
where are you? Yeah.
How long have I been on? If I get to count all my time as a guest, that would help. Because I did several years as guest on multiple shows before I got my own. I'm coming up on next year's going to be 20 years of my own show, though.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
So I only have 35 more to go. I can do that.
Well, yeah. But you have been in a public figure doing things. Well, at least since you and I started in 99.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to put you at 27 years.
And
so
2030,
just from being a
2000 was the first time I did radio. And the very first show I did was Midnight Trucking.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, that was the first show they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the end of an era. So congratulations to Dave, and we'd like to give him a nice send off. That's got to be great. You know, I try to imagine what that's like after 55 years saying, today's it. This is it. This is my last show. I'm not sure if I could do it.
Yeah.
It seems like that would be really hard.
I mean, yeah. Oh gosh, you know it's hard because I mean, especially for us guys, man. Our work is our purpose. Many guys have a lot of their purpose built up in their work, and that's pretty normal for guys. I think the thing to do is this: as you're beginning to cross that end of one major season in your life, what are you going to do for the next season in your life? And to me, I think one of the best things you can do is take that wisdom and knowledge that you've gained for Dave 55 years, and how are you investing in the next generation coming up to help them achieve for their careers what they're looking to achieve? Because how many people wouldn't want to pull from Dave's experience just from a wisdom standpoint? I mean, to me, that's the next part of your career. Is how are you investing in those that are going to continue on what you build and love to do?
Well, you know, and Dave's already done that. Dave's helped myself and other people, you know, get their start on radio.
Yeah.
Radio Nemo is continuing. Dave's just won't be on the air, but his show will continue. Radio Nemo is still a thing. Right. He just won't be, you know, on the air. So he's still helping people in that career. So
there you go.
Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Get this. So we've been talking a lot about the non-domiciled CDLs, all the drivers that shouldn't be on the road, the safety concerns, all the scams. This administration, I think I saw the other day, has already shut down 800 driving schools. That's a lot. That's a big deal.
Well, they took another 7,500 off the list. I don't know if you saw that as well. That was posted last week. Yeah, so there were almost 20,000 schools, those KR, which makes no sense. How do we have that many schools? I mean, we got 20,000 brokers in the market, you know, and that's for 900 million plus pieces of freight that move a year. And I get that, but how the heck? So those 3,000 that left immediately were ones that really just didn't even have any type of a program. And this last 7,500, I didn't read all the way into it, but it was on every single major media channel about those schools being out, which is probably good. I mean, why do we need anything more than a few thousand schools? I don't know.
No, I don't think we do. Here's a story I found kind of crazy. Here's just one of the bullet points. They were caught using hidden Bluetooth devices in turbines and headphones. So they were receiving the answers to the test through Bluetooth devices while they were taking the test.
Well, how nice is that?
Yeah. Here's what makes me crazy about this. The fact that they're cheating on the written part of the test, and they're going to these crazy measures to use electronic devices. The test is not that difficult. If you have to cheat on this test, that is so bad. It would be easier just to study for the damn test than it would be to come up with these complicated ways to cheat on it. It's not that hard.
It comes back to this. Look, here's the big deal. The reason why that this endeavor of the United States of America exists and grows and thrives is because we as a citizenry have agreed to have virtue as part of our way in which we go forward in life. When you have somebody who wants to become part of the United States of America experiment, that virtue has to be a part of this. And if you're willing to go and just cheat to get your job or get everything else, and then you put you put the public at risk because you're not qualified to do what you're supposed to be doing, then that's a massive problem.
It is a massive
problem. It's a massive problem.
Yeah.
So now I just pulled it up. It says Duffy closes 7,500 CDL schools in what's called the Wild West crackdown. So commercial driving tools in the first year enforcing federal laws to increase road safety. Let's see, the three related accomplishments to Duffy's list: removing 11,500 drivers who failed to meet English language proficiency standards, shutting down 7,500 CDL training schools that failed to meet the readiness standards, up from 3,000 provided when they first started. That's what we talked about. And then enforcing ELP compliance in 49 states. And they put a little parenthesis saying excluding California, which so that's just those two. So that's the two. That's the truck driving schools, and that's the English language proficiency. That still doesn't. You don't have data on the undocumented drivers that are out there, and I don't mean non-domiciled. I mean not undocumented. So those would be unqualified to be a truck driver because they're undocumented. Number two is the non-domiciled issue, which is about it's a couple of 100,000 drivers. So that it will affect. So these are large numbers, and our Secretary of the Department of Transportation is real sincere about making trucking safe again. Very sincere about it.
You know, here's something else we need to do. They need to do it quickly. This wouldn't be that hard. They should have done it right the first time. This goes right to why I fight government regulation so hard. It's not that I'm against regulation. I'm against regulations that aren't written properly and aren't enforced, and then it ends up hurting the people who follow the regulation. But, you know, I was the first one to admit, we all cheated on paper logs. Everybody did. I could even say the whole time at FedEx when there was almost no reason to cheat because it was, you know, scheduled, dedicated lanes, but we still did. And here's one of the reasons. If you followed the letter of the law, when I drove through that gate in the morning, my time on duty should have started. Well, there were mornings where you'd show up and maybe your trailers weren't ready and you'd be there 2.5 hours. We never logged that. We didn't call that on duty time. I didn't start the log until 15 minutes before whenever I left. Then you would show on duty, do your pre-trip, and you would go. We cheated. Everybody knew it. And we cheated a lot sometimes. The ELD could have been a really good thing for the industry. And I even said that back then. I knew we hated it. But my point was, it's not that we hate the ELD. We hate the hours of service. That's the real problem. The ELD is just a better way to track hours of service. It's easier on the driver. It's more accurate. It really is a better way. It's the hours of service we really have a problem with. So the ELD could have been a really good thing, except for the stupid idea that anybody can self-certify their own ELD device, and companies do. And now cheating on the ELD is rampant.
There you go. That's it's across the board. Yeah, the ELD actually should, in my opinion, should be a benefit to anyone operating a truck, because now you can cost justify for every hour that you are detained. If you have a problem, if you're detained here and it puts you into weather, it puts you into traffic, it puts you in anything else, that should all be part of the cost structure, because it's costing the trucker hours. These are the workable hours that they have to operate in. Well, I agree with you.
Yeah, and it would have been so easy, and it would still be easy. Just drop the self-certification. There needs to be one organization, the FMCSA or whoever. I hate to give it to them because they just suck at everything. But there needs to be one organization that certifies these devices, that they work and they're locked down.
Right.
Yeah, that one kind of pisses me off.
Well, I can totally understand.
Let's talk about some good stuff.
Let's do it.
So,
you want to talk about the marketplace?
I do. Did I see tender rejections hit 13.4%? Does that sound right?
You did. Let me. Can I pull up a visual for you?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do this real quick.
While you're doing that, let me set up the drama here. We might be coming into what we will eventually call the perfect storm for rates and owner-operators.
I would definitely say that is possible. All right, so here you go. I'm going to share this. Here we go. All right, so let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
Okay, so this is live. By the way, I've logged on as myself here. This is live.
Okay.
The outbound tender reject index, which I've been tracking since before 2020, because I saw the correlation between the outbound tender reject index, the system tribe. Anybody hadn't heard me say this, then this is for you. If you've heard me say it, then hopefully it's more of a benefit to you. So I saw the correlating relationship between this is contract freight. So this is the out of the marketplace, 80%, somewhere between 75-80% of freight is in the contract realm. In other words, it's larger fleets, medium and larger fleets that move it on a more regular basis because they have assets they can put on a manufacturer's freight that they need to move. So this shows the amount of freight that is not accepted at the rate that they previously negotiated. That's why it's called the outbound tender rejection. It should be tender renegotiation or freight renegotiation index, but this is the common term. This is the common term in the industry. So here's what's going to get you. All right, so notice this. It started climbing and said, so right now, if you look on the right-hand side, 13.29, if you follow this little dotted line all the way back across here, you probably can't see that. If you follow this little, okay, so 13.29.
Right.
Is right here where it says this is today, okay? All right, so if you looked at it yesterday, it was probably 13.4 where you were talking about. So you just follow it back across, and you see where we are to here. And this data kind of makes it hard because this data picks up as well. This is a live instance. So you see where you are here. I'll pull it down here. It shows it right there. That's today.
Yeah.
Of 2:15, and it always picks up the day before, because it does it at the end of the day. It gives you the data. So this was yesterday, Sunday, which obviously is not, a big day. You'll probably see it tomorrow. It'll probably go back up some. But my point though is, here, you look at that, and that's what I'll look at, because if contract freight is being rejected at the rate that it was negotiated at, remember, and this is for all owner-operators out there. Contract freight is just a handshake.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right.
It's just a handshake between a big fleet and a manufacturer. It means if everything stays the same, I'll move it for what I promised I'd move it for. But if things change, I get the opportunity to make my rate higher, and you as a shipper get the opportunity to make me try to go lower.
Let me jump in there, because there's another factor that you should understand when we talk about this rate. Trying to predict a rate in trucking a year out is insane. So many things can change, right? But we do it because a lot of contracts are a year. Like you said, it's a handshake if everything stays the same. But we do have another factor in there that helps even this out. That's the fuel surcharge. So the fuel surcharge, the most volatile part of our industry is already taken care of. We've taken the fuel price volatility and risk out of the equation. Mm-hmm. If fuel prices go up, the rate has to go up with it to protect the trucking company. If fuel prices go down, the rate could drop to protect the shipper. It's a beautiful system. It really is. It does exactly what it's supposed to do, takes the volatility out so you can predict what rate you could accept for the next year. Now, if the market changes dramatically, though, not based on fuel, if fuel goes up or down, doesn't matter if fuel goes to $10 a gallon. The fuel surcharge handles that. There's no upper limit. It will always adjust for that. But if the market changes, there's nothing to adjust for that. This is why it's just more of a handshake. Yeah, if everything stays about the same, we have a fuel surcharge, this will be our rate for the next year. When rates really start to change, then this is where the outbound tender rejection comes in. Because the carrier is going to say, yeah, look, we said we would haul it for that, but we're not going to because rates have gone up 20%.
Right. And so, yeah, very good. It's excellent. Thanks for bringing that up, Kara. So for this, the reason why this is important is because this is contract freight, and half of the brokers in the industry that move freight are just divisions of asset-based carriers and so they move some of their freight with their brokerage because the availability of capacity, because of load boards that are out there, you're able to really find capacity quite easy. So the brokerage marketplace has exploded in 25 years. And when I say exploded, I mean 10% growth year over year for like 20-something straight years. I mean, just crazy growth. If you got 10% on all of your investments, if you have any investments, you'd be a multi-millionaire. So 10% is a huge factor. So my point to you on this is what I look at. Here's the vector I really look at. So if it's 13.29 today, which is 13.29 right here, the little red thing. So I go back to this point and I pull it up. So there's the point, and I pull it down. So the yellow is last year. So this is why when I say there's more pressure in the market today than last year, I just look at last year. Well, last year was 5.63. The last time I checked, 13.29 is higher than 5.63 or 62.
Yes, it is.
So, and why is that? Why is that important? Well, it's because 80% of freight in the marketplace is moved by contract-based carriers, and when 13% of that freight is being rejected and renegotiated, a portion of it, and a decently healthy portion of it, will move into the spot market, exactly where owner-operators and small fleets play. So I look at the year over year. So if it was 5.63 last year and 13.29 now, let me tell you something. Rates ought to be really good for you. And I can tell you that they are. They have been. You and I have been talking about the last 4 straight weeks. Rates have been not just a little bit over, but a lot of bit over. So let me show you where that plays in. Now you can, by the way, before I go to the next slide, I can pull this down to the year before and the year before. So let me show, now, so try, this is simple supply and demand economics. And this is what an economist looks at every single year. Okay, so if in 2023 it was low, by the way, if it's below 5, and that's 5%, then it favors the shipper, the manufacturer, because they can negotiate well. If it's above 5, it favors the carrier. So look what it's done in 3 sequential years: 2023, 3.39, 2024, 4.73. We just talked about 5.63 in 2025. Look what it is in 2026. Now, this is why I've been so bullish on this market is going to have a good recovery this year. I don't know if we get everything back, but we should get a substantial amount of the rate back this year because all of the metrics year over year are saying this. Let me show you one more slide. So this is a dashboard that, I'll make sure this comes up. Let's see. Does it? Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, so this is the Sonar has tremendous data on all the marketplace. All right, so the thing that I look at on this is a couple of things. Number one, I look at how are they looking. They put a bullish or bearish. All right, bullish on the stock market means you're more positive about the growth in the market. If it says bearish, it means you're more negative about the growth in the market or where the marketplace is going. But I'll look at this, and you look at this. Look at, you got truckload freight. This is rejections up 3.81% month over month. Truckload spot rate.
Hey, Brent,
up 6.5%.
Let's go back to that 3.81%. It's up by that much. If we go back the couple of years back you just went, that was the rate itself, 3 something. Now it's gone up.
Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, that's big.
It's an amazing amount. So what you look at is you look at the rejections and you look at what spot load. This is rates, not volumes. This is rates, up 6.5%.
That's
so
big.
If you're not getting 6.5% in your negotiations, you're not negotiating well enough.
Right.
And you got to use this data to your advantage. Now come over to the right. Well, truckload rates are increasing as well. Actually, contract rates are increasing as well.
Yeah.
And you know what else is increasing? Now let me. This is why this is such a good chart. Intermodal is very connected to contract freight because a lot of contract freight carriers are in the intermodal market. It's up almost 2%. The entirety of the marketplace is rising right now. So that's super important for you as you're running your operation as a single truck owner operator, or 2 truck owner operator, 10 truck, small fleet. It's super important. Just look at this data on a daily basis and go, how do I need to negotiate? What do I have an advantage, or do I and I can like play it pretty hard, or am I at a disadvantage? And if I see a good rate, and then you lock it down right then. If you have this data at your fingertips, man, it's like weapons for you. It's so good for you.
It is. It is, and all the news is finally starting to look good. The jobs report that came out was way higher than what we expected. The jobs report looks really good. All the economic reports right now are looking good. Everything in trucking is following that trend, and then on top of it, we have this administration that is not slowing down. They are getting people out of the industry. They're getting carriers out. They're getting drivers out that don't belong here, and they are being aggressive about it. That's kind of what I mean by we might be seeing the beginning of a perfect storm for rates and volume.
Right. Yeah. Well, we are in a lot of ways, and let me just say this. Look, I'm for, and you are too, Kevin. You're a libertarian heart, and you want everybody. You want government to get out of the dang way, and you want people's initiative and virtuous character to pursue their dreams and be able to, if they want to start their dream as an owner operator, small fleet owner, then man, they should have the right to pursue that. But they need to do it under the same rules, regulations, and qualifications that everybody else had to do. And so that's important, because you can't create an unfair advantage for yourself in a marketplace that is not following the rules. And that's the issue. So when you look at, and this is something that Noel was talking about in his outline on immigration and trucking policy, there's over 700,000 truck drivers that it affects, from English language proficiency to documentation to the non-domiciled. So depending on however many of that lot are unqualified, then you're going to see pressure put back in the market, because capacity is going to be taken out.
Yes.
And so when capacity is taken out of the market, whether it's the driving public, or whether it's hours of service, or however the capacity gets pinched, rates automatically go up, because by necessity in a supply and demand market, they always will.
Yes.
So just watch that closely on how that's being administered. Super important. Super important.
All right. Now we're going to get to some calls here. We've got some calls on the line. Phone lines are open. It's a free for all. I think so. I have a better workflow now for data gathering and show notes and all that. I still use the same workflow I used to use in the beginning. So what I do is I just scroll headlines. And if a headline looks interesting, I open it up. I usually read it. I take some notes, and then I move on to the next one. Well, I simplified my workflow. All I have to do now is check the articles that I'm interested in, and I have my AI summarizes them for me, and it creates my show notes. So it's just a lot more efficient. It's still me choosing, what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to talk about it, but AI does a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm wondering if AI hallucinated something this morning, because I don't understand one of my bullet points. Let's see if this means anything to you. One of my bullet points on the article about rates and the tender rejection, the bullet point says 10,110 OTVI versus 11,731 historical average. What the hell is OTVI? Do you have any idea?
Outbound.
10.
Yeah. Let me look it up. Hold on.
Outbound tender,
but
something index. It's not. And whatever the number is, it's lower than the historical average.
Right.
But
right,
it didn't.
Right.
I guess I could ask it, but it didn't explain to me what OTVI is. I've never seen that one.
All right. Let's see. The OTVI is. No, that's not what I'm looking for.
Oh. Yeah, I have no idea.
I'm looking for my. Okay. The OTVI. Outbound tender volume index.
Oh. Huh.
That's what OTVI is. The OTVI is outbound tender volume index, and of course, Sonar has it for about 10,000 lanes.
Yeah.
So it's just the outbound tender volume. It's well, I mean, they track every major lane, and I think at the truck stop, I know we were tracking 200 major lanes. Maybe it was 2,000 major lanes, but there's like, obviously any OD pair could be deemed a lane.
Right.
So, but it's the outbound tender volume index. In other words, how much freight is going out on a normal basis.
So this is interesting then.
Mm-hmm.
The volume is down. The rejections are up.
Yeah, but down against what?
Well, it says the historical average. The historical average is 11,731. Currently, we're at 10,110. So we're below the historical average on volume.
Okay. So,
which makes that statistic of rejections even a little more powerful. Rejections are up. They're actually up on less volume. But what plays into this is we have less volume, but we also have a lot less capacity because we're washing so many people out of the market so fast. But it's
right, for sure. So here's the chart. Here's the chart. If you want to look at it really quick, here's the chart. So it's right here. It's this one right here. This is the outbound tender volume index. And it shows van, refrigerated, and flatbed. So it does show flatbed is up 37%. Refrigerated is down 3%. And I don't know what. Let's see if it lets me track this. Let me just click it. Maybe if I made it bigger. Oops. Let's see. If I make it one more bigger. Oh, nope. What's wrong here?
Oh.
It's down. It says plus 2%. That's good. I'll have to see if I can make this bigger. If I click that's the absolute symbol. Yeah, there's lots of stuff.
It's interesting that the AI pulled that stat out because I've never even seen it before.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to. I have access to this. Maybe I can get you access to it as well.
Yeah. So see if you can figure out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's what I had today.
Yeah, well, just overall in the marketplace, let me put this to you. So we were talking about the market. I want to make sure I'm covering the things that are most relevant. And we were talking about we were talking about freight volumes out in the marketplace. Well, if you look at freight volumes in the spot market, they've been extremely elevated. Last week they were like 45% over the 5-year average. The week before that, they were like 60% over the 5-year average. Well, this week, even though they've gone down, they've adjusted some. They're still way, way elevated, KR. The amount of freight in the spot market available for owner-operators and small fleets to move is still 33.3% above the 5-year average. So that should tell you, everybody in the market, that should tell you, you have somewhat of a better upper hand to negotiate the rate today than ever. Now, today's a holiday, so the overall data that I have in the market, I won't get till tomorrow because today's President's Day. And but I can tell you that you saw, if you see freight is up 33.3% above the 5-year average, that's just a benefit to you from the standpoint of rate negotiation. I know last week rates were up generally over, and they still are. I know that dry van and reefer are still up high. I know flatbed came down just a little bit, but it was already elevated. So all three segments of the market continue to be elevated. And I know fuel had gone up too, though. Fuel went up 4 cents over the last 5 weeks, which is not good, but as you like to say, that shouldn't matter to you.
Well, I'll go farther than that. Up to a certain point, it's a good thing. I mean, there is an absolute sweet spot for me and fuel price, and it's not low. It's as high as we can get the fuel price without disrupting the economy.
Right. No, we talked about that. You talked about Landman last week about the balance between you don't want it below this, you don't want it above that, and that's a great scene in that movie, by the way.
Yeah, well, not only that,
Or that show.
the show Landman is pretty interesting. We have always complained in our industry that we have to deal with such volatility. And we do. It's a volatile industry. Fuel prices make it volatile, rates itself, it's all over the place. I get that. But you watch that show, talk about volatile. That industry is insane. And the problem is there's no way to avoid it. Like, and we've watched this over and over.
Right.
When the fuel price goes up, there is so much profit to make that billions get invested into being able to pump more. But then the price can crash a couple months after that. But you've already invested all that money. And it is a total boom and bust industry. Way more volatile than trucking.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. You know why it's similar? Because it's a standard supply and demand marketplace.
Yeah. Well,
the supply
yes
and demand,
and no.
And you as a trucker are in the middle of the same thing.
Here's part of the problem with that marketplace. It's not a true free market, not even close, because it's a worldwide market, and we have an entire cartel called OPEC that can manipulate the price anytime they want, and they do.
Right. Well, that's one of the reasons why our sitting president went after Venezuela, all the oil that's in South America, because he says, and this was his claim, and I heard this just yesterday on something he was commenting on, that between the oil in that basin down there,
the Permian
and
basin,
the American oil, the oil that we have, between, if you combine the oil there and the oil we have in the United States, that's more oil than anybody else. So the point is to not be beholden to another foreign market for determining the price of things.
Right.
And that's really what our administration wants from the standpoint, because it's not good when we have a sovereign wealth fund driving the price of oil.
Well, and this is the difference for us old timers who lived through the 70s, when OPEC decided they wanted the price of fuel to go up and they stopped pumping. It was so bad here in the United States, we had to ration gasoline. You could only go to get gas every other day based on it. When I was in Ohio, I don't know if it was the same way everywhere. In Ohio, you could go based on your last name. It was either odd or even days.
Really?
Yeah, it was rationed, and we had long lines at gas stations because there wasn't enough gas.
Wow.
But we weren't pumping the way we do in the 70s. Now we have become a very dominant force in oil, and it's helped to smooth out the market some.
That's right. Yeah, it's an interesting world we live in. Hopefully it's more balanced, and we have more control over our own destiny in it, for sure.
Yes.
All right, buddy. Well, I got two other projects I got to work on. Let me just real quick for everybody. I'm speaking at the Broker Carrier Summit Cross Border Connect conference on Wednesday. I'm talking about what's happening between Mexico and the United States from the standpoint of freight movement and all the issues with regulations going on. So I get to speak there, which will be a lot of fun. And but it's really this issue of the freight between Mexico and the United States is only going to get more and more important to us because Mexico is now our biggest trading partner. It has been for a while.
Yeah.
And so just you can build a business on that.
Absolutely. All right.
For sure.
Well, Brent, thanks as always. Great stuff today. We'll do it again next week.
You got it, brother. Talk to you soon. See you, Tribe.
Take care.
Talk to you later. See you, Kevin.
All right, we're going to get to some phone calls. It is a free-for-all. Phone lines are wide open. Jump in and join us, 855-950-3835. Let's get started in Washington today. Matt, welcome.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for taking my call. I was going with the premise there's no dumb questions, so I hope this ain't too dumb. But real quick, I started my business last year, and the bulk of my business is very seasonal. I have plenty of other aspects of my business that I keep busy all year round. But anyway, it was in tanker work.
Okay.
And my customer that basically I got started with had a lot more business than I anticipated, and he wanted me to add more trucks. Well, I added more equipment, more trailers, and I brought on an owner-operator.
Okay.
And just we did a lease contract, and I had to put them completely under my insurance.
Right.
Because there's extra aggregates and stuff that they require. Now, this being so seasonal, it'll go April through October, or November, but there's a lot of hit and miss before it really ramps up. And is there a lease or such a thing with insurance company where he kept his own insurance, but here we are basically double covering him so he can keep his authority and still run when I.
Hi, I'm Kevin Rutherford. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe or leave a comment below. It really helps us get the show out to more people. If you'd like to get the full show, ad-free, you can sign up with the link below.